Alright, in order to cut out a product on the plotter, instead of using a line weight, it uses a color. So I'm going to illustrate like a very small example. We'll pretend that this square is my product. Okay? And I'll just fill it in for fun. Okay. So I want to be able to cut that out. Well, in order to cut it out, I need a stroke around the outside edge with no fill, and the stroke has to be a specific color. The color is located right here for cut. Okay, so I'm going to put this off to the side so I can see it. And I'm going to go to stroke color, and I'm going to make a new color. In fact, I need it a little bit over there. There we go. It has to be Perf Cut Contour, capital P-R-F, capital Cut, Perf Cut Contour. Okay, has to be a spot color, and has to be CMYK with these numbers: 2.75, 6.47, 95.78, and 0.26. Hit OK. So now this will cut out. Now if this is a 1-up, what you have to do is go to Document Setup, Edit Artboards, and make your document smaller. Just like that. So you want it to encompass your design with the same amount of margin going around. Triple check everything. There's been many a time where I've gone to this thing and I've made a mistake with the naming convention. You don't even know. So just double click this, make sure it says Perf Cut Contour, make sure that is, you know, like 100% the same as this. Hit OK. And now what you save this as is a PDF. File, save as. PDF. And that is how you do the cut. If you are doing a cut and a half cut, in other words, scoring it's called, what you have to do then is make another border. This would be closer to your design. And this border needs to be set up with this name. Cut. And make sure that when you hit this button, that one. So it makes sure it says copy right here. So you're not changing the other one. Cut. Contour. It's going to be a spot color. And it's going to be 100% magenta. So now this will cut the design out of the paper. This will score the label so that it's easy to peel out. you need to save this as a PDF. This is cut and score. What you name it, it doesn't really matter at this point. That's a cut and score example. Alright, so here I have a PDF with the cut line. This is what I'm going to be using as a demonstration piece for the video. I need to go over to the computer in the other room and launch that PDF. So I have stuck the USB into the thing. I drag it over to the software and I get this. It's a single one-up. Now before I get started, I need to make sure that I make some changes to the printer and load paper.
So before you print the design, make sure that you move this carriage over to about right there. Okay, the handle is up, the paper is out. I am moving this carriage to about right there. All right, when you align your paper, see the edge of this. So I'm using this straight edge, and I'm lining that up with this straight edge. So the straight edge of the piece of paper goes up against that little groove. Okay. So you'll notice that across here it's starting to get skewed. So you fix the skew. Line those up, and then push down the little handle or down. So now you see that that's lined up, that's lined up, that's lined up. So those three vectors make everything straight.
Alright, once I have loaded the paper, the way it illustrates in the video, I can double click my PDF and go Get Media Width. Okay. Then, what I want to do is say, make multiples of this design, but I'm kind of limited to how many I can make. In this case, I can only make 5, and I'll show you why. I'm going to have to position this over at least 4 inches. So you can see I won't be able to have another product here. 4 inches is the bare minimum. So the whole overall design should look like this. It should have this 4 inches and then space. We do short runs when it comes to UV protected stuff. So I would recommend only doing, like the first small row, because we have to put a laminate over the top later. Alright, in this case, I only want to print. So I want to make sure that it doesn't cut the sheet afterwards. I want to make sure it has crop marks. I want to make sure that it has vinyl 1. High quality. And I'm just going to go through each one of these windows to make sure that I got everything. I know there's one more right here. Under cut controls, I only want to print. We also have to make sure that this is unchecked. We do not want it to cut the sheet after output. Alright, now we right click and print. Alright, so while that prints, I can get this ready
Basically, you have to take all the rolls off of it. Make sure it's nice and clean. No rolls, no nothing else. If you have any problem removing rolls, they should be just removed by taking these out, and you take the rolls off. If you need help with rolls, you can see me, because sometimes there are two rolls and they are kind of taped together, which is pretty frustrating sometimes to get them apart, so come see me. You'll notice as it prints, it's actually printing the cut mark way down here, and that's because I had moved that little blue mechanism over far enough so it thinks that's the beginning of the page. When it gets done printing, there's instructions here on how to cut the page. But first, you need to tile it down using the bottom arrow so that there's a line right about here, so it lines up with this first dot, okay, around that area, just like that. And now you press function once, the down arrow twice, and then enter. What this will do, it'll cut the sheet of paper. And you notice now it has a tail that's rather long. Okay, you need this long tail in order for this to work. So that's a lot of paper being wasted for this many products. That's why when we do UV coating, it costs a little bit more for the client. So this is the box of UV coating. What you basically need to do is cut a strip of UV coating about the same width of your product. You don't need to waste much. Alright, when you apply your coating, we're actually going to stick it in this way first, the longer. I'm going to put it in the machine, hit run just for a second, and hit stop. Pick this up, peel back your film, and apply it right there. And that should be in alignment with your design. We grab this bottom edge. Notice I have this in this hand, this in this hand, and with my third hand, hit run. And I just stand back and let it feed into the machine. This UV coating is supposedly a 12-year coat. Just let it slide into the machine. Now when it gets to that sticky part right there, just kind of watch it. And pull it out the back. and hit stop. To make alignment a little easier, we're going to take a triangle, okay? Get the longer version of the triangle. Line it up with the side of the piece of paper, and it should touch that vector right there. So that it's aligned here and touching that vector. I'm going to draw a small line here. Okay? That line indicates where that vector is. Alright, we need to do that on the other side too. Just like that. So now that is in alignment with that. Again, this just makes it easier to align it back up into the machine. Alright, so there's a lever over here, like that. We're going to remove the roll, just going like that, and we're going to move this back over so that it matches right about there. Alright, when you place this in the machine, make sure that it's lined up here, lined up against the groove, and on the other side lined up here. Go ahead and press the lever down. We're now going to wheel it back just a little bit using these arrows. So I'm just going to wheel it back just a little bit so that it covers over that hole right there. See that hole? Make sure it's covered. And then hit Function, Enter. And this will make a new base point.
Alright, in order to cut this, you double click on it. And in this case, we only want to cut. Then we hit OK. And then File, Print.
So at this point, the head should be scanning for these black marks. If it is not, it's because you did not load it correctly. You might receive an error message that says error, crop mark not found, or something like that. But this is what it should look like if it's having a good time. After it figures out all its vectors, it then begins to cut. To remove it out of the machine, just lift the lever, and then it's done. And this is what it looks like. It should be cut just like that. Product should come out, and it should be sticky. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Sticky on one side, but it's UV coated, so it lasts 12 years. Yay! So that's how you design a UV coated product.